There are definitely a lot of motorized sliders on the market today to choose from at a wide range of price points. Recently, I spent hours doing my own research into the most popular slider companies, what they offered, and how their sliders performed. Today, I'll be sharing my findings, as well as what slider I ended up choosing and why. Hello everyone, and welcome back. My name's Tim Stolars, and on this channel, I talk about camera-related gear and tech, as well as do tutorials for photo and video-related topics. So if that's something you're interested in, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell because you never know what you might learn in my next video. So there are many companies that offer sliders, but I'm going to cover the 4 that seem to be the most popular: Neewer, Zeppen, Edelkrone, and Rhino. And just to be clear, I only own and have used one of these sliders. So this video is a comparison of specs and a consolidation of all the information I found when I was doing my own research to decide which direction to go. In addition to the specs, I try to find out what the general consensus was on how people felt about these sliders and how they performed. By the end, you should have a pretty good idea of how these sliders compare, so you don't have to spend so much time trying to find these details yourself. So let me know in the comments below if you already are leaning towards one of these 4 or another slider company altogether. Neewer. Neewer sliders are the cheapest on our list, and it seems that's at the expense of performance and features. They have a 31.5 and 39-inch motorized models, one set with a remote and one without. Price range is between $235 and $283 US, so as far as sliders go, very affordable, and they also claim to have a 22-pound weight limit. These are probably going to be their biggest selling points because these sliders ship unassembled, don't fit in the bag they come in when assembled, and it seems like they have quite a bit of quality control issues with sliders having loose screws, bent battery connections, and worst of all, shaky footage. Features-wise, you're going to get 1-axis movement and then limited 2-axis pan motion. These sliders have a guide bar that you can manipulate so that the slider moves along the track and forces the rotation on top. This second axis of motion will be quite limited, and I can see it being difficult to set up accurately. All things considered though, 50 to 60% of people are happy enough with this product to give it 5 stars on Amazon. So this option might still be better than nothing or a mechanical slider if you are on a tight budget. Zeppen. Our next slider is the Zeppen Micro 2, and it's a slider that I've only started to see more of in 2020, and it's the second cheapest option on our list. They have 3 versions with a total travel distance of 21 inches, 29, and 37 inches. Price for the motorized versions are $440 for the shortest, $510, and $570 for the longest. Weight limit for the smaller slider is 10 pounds, and 18 for the medium and longer sliders. These sliders use a shifting base design, which let them travel almost twice the length of the slider itself. This design, I believe, was introduced by Edelkrone a couple years ago, but you can see the Zeppen Micro 2 has a completely different build that appears very solid. Just by looking at the slider, you can see how much more rugged it is compared to the other sliders on this list. The rails look very heavy duty, which seems to offer enhanced stability when your camera is at each end of the shifting base. You can also purchase attachable arms that can be connected from the slider to your tripod to create additional points of contact for additional support. This slider is limited to only 1 axis of motion, but you could put a fluid head on top to mechanically manipulate the pan and tilt. I've read a couple of negative reviews about the slider just not working, but these circumstances you can always return or replace. Overall, people seem to be very happy with this slider, especially at its price point. It has an intuitive app, but also has the ability to control the slider directly on the motor, a slide that gives smooth footage, and a compact design which helps when you need to be mobile. Edelkrone. Moving on to number 3. Edelkrone seems to be the most established and diverse company out of the 4 we are looking at today. They have many different motion control products such as sliders, jibs, dollies, as well as pan and tilt heads. The great thing about Edelkrone products is they're meant to be modular, giving you the ability to buy one product that's useful on its own and purchase additional products in the future that can be added to what you already have for additional axes of motion. You can start with the slider, then at a later point buy a rotating head to add motorized pan and tilt. Given how many products they have, you can go relatively cheap and buy basic, or spend a lot and get a lot of motion control. Specifically looking at their sliders though, they have 3 unique sliders, each with a Pro version that has a higher load capacity. Their smallest slider is the Slider 1, which is compact and has a motor built in. It only has 7.87 inches of travel, which given its size is great for throwing in a bag and having it with you always. For some people, this length is more than enough, especially for macro videos, but it is limiting for other applications. A cool feature for the Slider 1 is that you can set it up completely vertically. The weight capacity for the regular slider is 20 pounds horizontal, 5 pounds vertical, and costs $4.99. The Pro version's limit is 30 pounds horizontal, 10 pounds vertical, and costs $8.99. Moving on to the Slider Plus. This slider has a long and compact version, as well as high capacity options as well. Neither of them come with the motor, but one can be purchased separately. Here's a list of the travel distances on the ground or on a tripod, the weight capacities, and the cost for the 4 versions of the Slider Plus. This slider is their 5th version, and the motor is their 3rd that was released mid-2020, which are reportedly smoother than previous generations and actually allow for a 22.5-degree incline for cameras that weigh up to 5.5 pounds. As I mentioned earlier, Edelkrone has a lot of other motion control systems, and if you buy one of these sliders, you can buy a head one which adds motorized pan motion, or add 2 for pan and tilt. They also have this heavy-duty unit, the Head Plus, which has pan, tilt, and the ability to add a focus module to also automate focus racking for a total of 4 axes of motion. As you can see, the Edelkrone ecosystem is quite robust, with lots of tools to choose from, to mix and match for your exact needs. This comes at an expense, and these systems are not cheap. In addition, there are obviously negative reviews. These include their products not having the smoothest motion, that there are issues with the Edelkrone app, especially for Android users, and up until recently the only way to use the system was through an app. This was fixed recently when they introduced a standalone remote, but of course this adds an extra expense. And because the slider design allows them to have twice the amount of movement for their size, I've seen a few people having problems with weight distribution, sag, and sliders tipping over. Regardless of these findings, I would say there is more positive reviews for these products than there are negative ones, including most importantly, that they have smooth motion and footage. And let's remember that more people are probably inclined to leave a negative review when they are unhappy with something than they are to leave a positive one. Final notes for the Edelkrone system is they offer a bundle discount. At 2 products you save 10%, 3 products is 15%, and at 4 products you get 20% off. In addition, all the systems are powered by external Canon or Sony batteries. They have a 30-day full refund return policy, 1-year defect warranty, as well as a lifetime protection plan that even covers accidental damage and wear and tear for all the products at no additional cost. Rhino. Lastly, we have Rhino, and similar to Edelkrone, it's a premium slider. The Rhino is cheaper than the direct comparable Edelkrone Head Plus and Slider Plus combo, but it's more expensive than the simpler Edelkrone options. With Rhino, the Arc Head 2 unit has the internal battery and is what powers everything. So really, you need to go all in with the system and buy the whole bundle for 3-axis motion right away. The head unit, slider, and motor module. To be completely clear, the motor module will not run without the Arc 2 head unit. So a simple 1-axis motorized slide is not possible with the system. The 2 slider lengths they offer are 24-inch and 48-inch, with the option for carbon fiber rails that hold less weight or stainless steel Pro versions. These lengths are the total lengths of the slider themselves and not the travel distance, which ends up being 17.75 inches and 35.75 inches. It's worth noting that it almost seems that Rhino hides this detail, as you can't find it on the main product page, there's no specification link, and it's not even the how the system works page that goes into detail about each slider's weight and the load capacities. You have to go through a completely different product support page through several links to find these dimensions. As for bundles themselves, they offer 3, but they actually don't offer any discounts when compared to building each item separately. I will go through each one though, since you will likely end up choosing one of these builds anyway, and the combinations will cover most of what Rhino offers. The essential bundle gets you 24-inch carbon rails, the head unit, high-speed motor that is meant only for horizontal slides, and a carrying case for $2,350. Then there is the time-lapse bundle that comes with 42-inch carbon rails, the head unit, a high torque motor which is slower and allows for vertical slides for 5-pound cameras, as well as a carrying case, and costs $2,650. The last bundle has everything in it: 42-inch stainless steel rails and 24-inch carbon replacement rails, the head unit, a follow focus, both motors, and a case for $3,550. The Rhino system is interesting because it doesn't require you to balance anything. You can just clip in your camera on the head unit and away you go. The comparable Edelkrone Head Plus, on the other hand, needs to be balanced every time like a gimbal, which is a hassle to do. Unfortunately though, Rhino seems to be plagued with the most problems out of all the slider systems on this list. I've read they have a lot of software related, as well as internal battery and charging issues. Units won't charge at all after being plugged in for days, or only charge to half. And some reviews have shown new products being delivered with defects and damage on multiple occasions. And as of December 2020, they still only offer 2 keyframes, while they've been promising to release 5 since it was put on the market in August 2019. In addition, I've seen a lot of examples of extremely shaky footage, which is potentially also software related. Rhino is a much smaller company, so their ability to fix some of these issues appear to take a long time. Backing these findings up, if you go to the Rhino's official Facebook group, it's primarily filled with people complaining about one issue or the other. The good news is that I've seen the owner of Rhino posting in the group that they're hiring new employees to completely be dedicated to fixing the known issues and getting out for more updates. It does seem like they potentially released this product sooner than they should have and with known issues. Final notes for the Rhino system is that they offer a 90-day return policy, 1-year defect warranty, and you have the option to extend that warranty for the lifetime of your product, but for an additional $200, but that does not cover accidental damage or wear and tear. Rhino does offer a closed slider system called Rove, but it's only a 1-axis mini slider that you can't add any additional motion to. The Pro version for cameras costs $480, and $300 gets you the phone version. It's very similar to Edelkrone Slider 1, with 8 inches of travel and a 5-pound capacity. Further giving into my suspicion of Rhino trying to hide the true distances of the 24 and 40-inch sliders is Rove clearly has the total distance listed right on the product page. So now moving on to what system I chose. Before I say it though, quickly pause the video and comment below which system you think I went with. Did I give it away through my explanations? Also, if you have any questions about these sliders, I'd be happy to try and answer them to the best of my ability. I reply to every single comment within a couple hours. Okay, drum roll. I chose Edelkrone, and I specifically picked up this Slider Plus Long, the motor module, 2 head ones for pan and tilt, as well as the Slider 1, which I ended up actually returning. I've made a separate comparison video linked here and down below between the 2 sliders where I put them to the test to see how smooth the footage is in different scenarios. I chose Edelkrone because it's modular and it was the cheapest way to build up to full 3-axis motion, but also still have the option for simple 1 or 2-axis. The caveat to this is the head ones are not the best at providing ultra smooth footage for close-up and macro videos, but there are ways to get around this, which I explained in the comparison video. Other than that, the system is very smooth and I'm very happy with it. The price for the setup was $1,675, so a couple $100 cheaper than the Rhino system. One last thing I want to mention is that Edelkrone support is absolutely fantastic, both on the technical and customer service side. I had a lot of technical questions that a product specialist replied to me with full detailed answers within 24 hours. And when I had purchased all my items a couple weeks before their summer sale, customer service reimbursed me for the difference when I asked with no issues. In addition, I put a pretty decent gouge in the Slider 1 that I returned, and customer service let me know it would still be accepted for refund without any hassle. So I think that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far, and I hope I was able to provide some information that you were looking for. If you found this video useful, it would be great if you could leave a like and a comment below. I reply to every single one, so let me know what motion control system you have, want to have, or wish you didn't have. Take care and I'll see you next time.